so many textures, so many human personalities in this music. It moves you to thinking about many things besides just the song.
I wouldn't want to live without the old time, because old time just gives you more chances to be an individual.
I fell in love with the sound of that music, and I guess it's been the love of those sounds that have intrigued me ever since.
I had met Tom Paley long before the Ramblers started. Tom and me sang and had a whole bunch of different songs we worked out.
I had been playing bluegrass for a while, and I heard that John and Tom were coming down. I said, well, that sounds interesting. I'd like to go down and play music with them. And they were going to be on the radio. I thought that was fun, too.
So we played one or two songs at Tom's house, got in the van, tuned, went right on the radio.
If I was on some fog mountain top, I'd sail away to win. I'd sail all around.
Well, then after that, I went back to New York, and I already knew Mo Ash from Folkways Records. And I told him about this band and how excited I was. And he asked who's in it, and I told him. He says, okay, you can make a record. No audition, no listening, no nothing.
As soon as we thought up our name and actually began playing as a band, I got a letter from Newport Folk Festival saying, would you like to appear?
So that gave us a big push at the same time.
It was at night. People were drinking. It was very, very hip. Outside on the street, maybe it's Greenwich Village, maybe it's Rush Street in Chicago. There's a scene developing. That is the world that the New Lost City Ramblers emerged into. So you're sitting in a nightclub, you've just heard some, really scandalous humor from Lenny Bruce. And then on come these three guys in vests, with banjos and fiddles and guitars. What is going on?
They were bringing this style as a radical innovation to young urban people who had never heard it before. And some young people listened to that and they said, wow, this is the real thing.
Our mission on the stage wasn't to entertain and to sell records. Our mission was to get the music out there. And before we had a mission, of course, our purpose was just to enjoy ourselves.
They had fun on stage, they had fun off stage, and like musicians everywhere, they turned the tensions of being presenters on a public stage into all sorts of playful ways of defusing the tension and having fun with themselves.
John was Uncle Funk. He brought a certain kind of funkiness, both instrumentally and vocally. And he also could be pretty clever on stage, too. He and Tom would engage in verbal interchanges and things. Mostly good-natured.
Mike was very cool, but he had his own funny sense of humor in it, too.
John and I wanted to play music full-time, and Tom didn't really want to. So in a very awkward way, Tom decided to leave in the summer of '62.
And we were wondering, should the Ramblers go on?
Just, a couple of months before I was shipped back from Germany, I got this letter from Mike Seeger, and he said, Tom Paley is leaving the band, and the only one they could think of in the whole United States that could be able to step in there was me.
He had heard the Ramblers before, and so we started rehearsing with him at the end of the summer, and we've been with Tracy for 40 years now.
When they found Tracy, they found someone who could link them more directly, it seemed to me, to mountain ways of producing music. He seemed to bridge the gap. A lot of old-time music is not only rural, but it's working-class music. And in the music, you hear some of the special powers and strengths of working-class people. they're physically strong. They play the music in a way that is strong and bold.
A lot of people, like my dad, who were in the urban folk scene, going to hootenannies and stuff, their only exposure to the indigenous musicians was when the Ramblers would bring those people to perform for these folk audiences.
John, he and Ralph Rensler is a young kind of organization called Friends of Old Time Music, which brought artists from the South up to New York City for a series of concerts. And instead of people learning secondhand, they could actually have the real people there learn it, sit at the feet of John Hurt and learn. And they go down south and they discover, Eck Robertson or, Clarence Ashley, or in the case of Mike, Doc Boggs, or Roscoe Holcomb, who John came up with.
Mike's wonderful. He told me that it was just as exciting for him to see the young people who are playing now as it was for him to sit at the feet of the old masters. There are people my age who are completely in love with this music, who want to play it, who want to seek out old people who play it, and the reason that they know about the music is because of the New York City Ramblers. So even if they don't know it.
If you listen to the recordings that the Ramblers made and look at their activity, you understand that they really drew no boundaries.
All right, two-step time.
Tracy spent a bunch of years going down to Louisiana and learning how to play Cajun music.
When I first knew him, he was maybe dabbling with Cajun music, but then he actually learned it from the inside out, and he's become a great Cajun musician.
I'm most familiar with the stuff that he does with Jenny.
I'll die for the one that I love best.
John Cohen had impacts that ran to the visual side of things.
His photography is amazing, his films are beautiful, and he's been definitely a real inspiration to me as far as my desire to document things.
Here's somebody who's involved in a lot of different things. He's done recording down in Peru. He's just, he taught for years as a professor, and he's made a lot of films over the years. John,
in a real sense, has been a great contributor to the folk revival through his documentarian's eye.
Mike Seeger, he's also made films. He had a thing on Appalachian dance called Talking Feet.
One of Mike's great contributions to our field has been as a field researcher. He not only went out and recorded people and added to his art, but he edited albums and shared them with the world.
These guys have always struck me as people who are just, just full of energy and full of projects, and it's totally, they get a lot accomplished between all of them. Every time you turn around, they're there, involved in something.
Over the years, having played together, we have different experience, different ideas of the music. We've all done field recording. We've all known some of the best traditional musicians that have ever lived.
Yeah, it's been a life experience. There's some songs that I can't do with any other group, but yet with the Ramblers I can do them because we have a similar concept about what the music means to us, what it should mean to the audience, and how to play it.
And doing these individual projects that we do about the music and realizing that it's all attributable, it goes back to that central idea of the Ramblers. So in a way, as individuals are also an extension of that joint idea. We're just constantly being revived. And some years we do more, some years we do less. Last year we did 5 concerts.
Are bound to die.
The Ramblers have dedicated their lives to advancing this music, the music that they have listened to, learned, and loved.
It's huge, all the stuff they've done.
They're like the gatekeepers. They've turned a lot of people on to a lot of real good music that may never have found it.
They've transformed folk music for our generation and the next generations that came beyond us. I'm getting old enough that I can speak of the generations below me now.
It's hard to imagine a world of music without the Ramblers and without the key role that they played.
Nobody else was playing that kind of stuff. And it influenced a tremendous amount of other people, you know, who started actually going back and looking at these sources to find material and play.
They are the great disseminators, and all of us who were interested in old-time music played their repertoire.
As musicians, as documentarians, as nutty personalities, they've done so much work. It's staggering. It's really staggering.
The Ramblers have had a huge impact. They've had a direct impact on many of us, and for everybody that they haven't had a direct impact on, they had an indirect impact. All of us see a cultural world that we wouldn't have seen if it weren't for the New Lost City Ramblers